Last season, Arne Slot won the Premier League. He took a Liverpool team that finished third and won the Premier League with them. But here's the crazy part. They were still not perfect. Liverpool fixed a creativity issue by signing Florian Wirtz. They solved a weak link at left back by signing Milos Kerkez. And even when Trent Alexander-Arnold left, they didn't waste a second. Jeremy Frimpong was through the door as a replacement at right back. So you'd think everything is sorted, right? But you would be wrong. Even the best team in England still has problems, because in football, no team is ever truly finished. There's always room to grow, and make no mistake about it. There were moments last season when Arne Slot wasn't happy. He demanded more, he needed more, but at times he simply didn't have the right players he needed to make that change. That's where Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards come in. They're already working on the transfer market to back Arne Slot, but some of the improvements that Arne Slot needs to make, he needs to make them internally. So in this video, I am breaking down 5 of the biggest problems Arne Slot will face this season, even as the defending champions of the Premier League. So stick around, because a couple of these might genuinely surprise you. So let's get into it. Liverpool didn't run out of quality last season. They ran out of energy at one point in the season. One of the biggest issues Liverpool faced under Arne Slot was fatigue, and it's a problem that they genuinely had. Let me explain. Slot relies heavily on a core group of players throughout the season last year. He only averaged 3.9 changes per Premier League game, the lowest in the Premier League. Think about that for a second. Players like Virgil van Dijk and Mohamed Salah were starting week in, week out, and on the surface that looks absolutely fine, right? Play your best players, win more games, and you win the trophies. But that comes at a cost. Just look at the game, which was the Carabao Cup final versus Newcastle. A massive match, a trophy on the line, and Liverpool just didn't look sharp. The energy was missing, and even Salah in that game had a particularly tough game. It wasn't just form, it was that he was 33 years old and he was playing every single minute of every single game in the lead up to the final, and that is not sustainable. And he wasn't alone. Trent Alexander-Arnold, Cody Gakpo, Ibrahima Konate, they all picked up soft injury issues at various points in the season. And these are the kind of injuries that happens when players are playing too many games in a row. And here's the scary bit. The number of games is never going to go down. It's only going up every single season. So if Liverpool don't manage minutes better, the problem will just keep on growing. So how does Arne Slot fix this? First of all, improving the squad depth. And to be fair, Liverpool have definitely made progress here. Kerkez is the new left back, with Andy Robertson being the backup. That is some seriously elite left back options. Jeremy Frimpong versus Conor Bradley at right back is serious competition. Mamardashvili is a very good backup to Alisson. Florian Wirtz can play across the front and the midfield, which is massively useful. But there's still some work to do on that front. There's another centre back to help out Ibrahima Konate. There's probably another starting level winger, especially with Luis Diaz leaving, and maybe even a striker, because there have been links to Alexander Isak. The second solution, though, would be to use substitutions more smartly. When a game is done and dusted, Slot needs to start pulling out key players and allowing them to rest, because with more rotation means more rest. That means that you're able to build up more rhythm within the bench players as well, so that they are ready when they are needed. And don't forget, competition pushes standards. If fringe players feel like they will be given the minutes as long as they are able to perform on the pitch, that opens the door to rotate more in games against lesser sides without losing quality on the pitch. Look, Liverpool's dip in the Champions League and even in the Cups, even during the title run-in, it wasn't about ability, it was about energy. Liverpool were one of the most dangerous attacking teams in Europe last season, but when it came to finishing in the big games, they were not clinical enough, especially the striker. And that might be one thing stopping them from actually winning the Champions League. Let's look at a major issue for Arne Slot last season, and that was needing a reliable, ruthless number 9. Darwin Núñez was supposed to be that guy. He is relentless, he presses so hard off the ball, and his work rate is second to none. But on the ball is where the frustration begins. He gets caught offside so many times. He's not very good with his shots. He snatches at his chances, and he's very erratic with his decision making. And 3 seasons in, these issues are still ongoing. No composure, no calm, and definitely not enough goals for a club record signing. Last season, his underlying numbers, his XG and his XA, both dipped a lot. He wasn't finding the spaces he was finding like he was under Jurgen Klopp, and when he did get those chances, like we know, he was fluffing his lines. And that puts a ton of pressure on Mohamed Salah, and yes, he had a once-in-a-lifetime season last year, but let's be real, he's 33 now and his game is evolving. He's becoming more of a creator than he is a finisher. He might still get 20 plus goals, but he shouldn't be carrying the attack for another season. Cody Gakpo also had a solid season, especially from the left, but he's clearly more comfortable cutting inside than being the number 9. And with Luis Diaz now gone, that left-hand side threat needs a bit of rebalance, especially going forward, because Luis Diaz played a lot of games as a centre-forward. Hugo Ekitike is a brilliant signing. He links play beautifully and he has a ton of potential. But he's not yet quite there to be a killer in front of goal. He's not that guy just yet. So what's the fix? A clinical striker who finishes off his chances, who outperforms his XG and has elite level ball striking ability. And that is why there's no surprise that Alexander Isak is the main target. And things are heating up. He's reportedly gone on strike to push the move through. Liverpool have put in a bid that got rejected, and they are thinking about putting in a second bid once Newcastle's stance starts to weaken. And if they land him, that might be the missing piece in the puzzle. Because here's the truth. Liverpool created enough last season to win it all. But in the biggest moments, the goals just didn't come. And if they fix that, that is the difference between losing a Champions League game and winning a Champions League game. On top of that, Liverpool want to control games under Arne Slot. But right now, their build-up play might actually be holding them back. Slot's system is all about domination, controlling possession, progressing the ball from deep, and trying to dictate the tempo of the game. But here's the issue. Liverpool's current squad has a real imbalance between ball carriers and ball passers. And it's a very big imbalance right now because Trent Alexander-Arnold has left Liverpool. When you think about Liverpool's build-up play over the last couple of seasons, and especially last season, a lot of it ran through Trent Alexander-Arnold because his passing ability was a joke. He found Gravenberch in the tight central areas. He switched the ball to Robertson and Luis Diaz on consistent basis, and he was able to ping passes into Mohamed Salah down the line. But now that he's gone and we've brought in Jeremy Frimpong, that is a totally different profile. He's a ball carrier, not a distributor, and you can say the same about Conor Bradley. At the back, Ibrahima Konate is very inconsistent with his passing, so he prefers to carry the ball too. Kerkez at left back is also a high energy forward carrying fullback rather than a passer. And even Ryan Gravenberch, who is the defensive midfielder who plays deepest in midfield, prefers to run with the ball then pass through the lines. So who's actually progressing the ball from Liverpool from deep? That is only Virgil van Dijk, and that is not enough. This lack of balance is a problem for two big reasons. It makes Liverpool easier to press. If you can't confidently pass out from the back, then you will lose the ball when you're trying to play out from the back. And the second thing is that it leads to more long balls, and when you do that, you're handing possession back to the opponent, which goes against the philosophy of what Arne Slot is trying to instill into this Liverpool team. So how do you fix it? First, it comes down to tactics. Van Dijk has the quality to build out from the back. So does Alexis McAllister in midfield, and probably Ryan Gravenberch, who is better than Kerkez or Frimpong doing that. So allow the fullbacks to push up and get those two central midfielders to come a little bit deeper and allow them to play that ball forward. The second thing is looking into the market. A right-sided centre-back who's comfortable with the ball at their feet, and someone who has come to mind is definitely Mark Guéhi. He's calm in possession, he's good at finding midfielders, and he's much more composed under pressure. And let me be clear here though, even if we did sign Guéhi, Ibrahima Konate is still the starter. But with his contract winding down and constant links to Real Madrid, having another option like Guéhi provides you security and flexibility in possession. If Liverpool want to dominate games the way Arne Slot wants them to, they must get their build-up phase right. Because without control from the back, you're going to suffer from pressing, from attacking, and from transitions. It's all going to be very bad for Liverpool. And right now, this might be the most overlooked weakness in the team. Another issue in the team is that you can have the best attackers in the world, but without the right defensive midfielder, your entire team falls apart. When you think about the best teams we've ever seen, you think about Sergio Busquets, you think about Rodri, and you even think about Vitinha last season for PSG. Arne Slot wants control on and off the ball, but without a proper defensive midfielder, Liverpool's risk to this is being completely exposed, especially in transitions. And that lack of balance can lead to some very scary moments defensively. The current options include Alexis McAllister, who's incredibly gifted, arguably Liverpool's best midfielder, but he is not a natural six. If you're playing him deep and he's got back to goal, he is prone to giving the ball away, and then Liverpool get attacked quite quickly, and we saw that under Jurgen Klopp. On top of that, Alexis McAllister is so good going forward that you don't really want to put him in the number 6 position. Then you have Wataru Endo, who was brought in for that role. In my opinion, he's very good at seeing out the game, but he can never be a starter. He's not quite quick enough and he's not quite good enough on the recovery for him to be a starter for Liverpool. And that leads us to the main option Liverpool used last season, Ryan Gravenberch. And to be fair, Gravenberch was absolutely brilliant in that first half of the season. But he's still naturally a box-to-box player and he's not quite a metronome. And you could see the toll it took in the second half of the season. He was asked to defend so much that he completely gassed out within the final few weeks. So when he's not fully fit, when he's not winning his duels and when he's not on it, Liverpool look very exposed in that midfield position. So what's the fix? Well, option number one is signing a proper number 6, of course. Someone who reads the game at an elite level, holds his position, wins the ball back and keeps possession. Zubimendi was Arne Slot's first top choice for a reason. He is exactly that. But then you also have a player like Adam Wharton from Crystal Palace, young, composed, intelligent, and he is a fantastic footballer. I've obviously talked about these transfer targets in a previous video, so just go check that out if you want a more in-depth breakdown of how these players would fit into Liverpool. But option number 2 is a tactical reshuffle. Liverpool could move into a box midfield, especially with the fact that Florian Wirtz can play as a left winger who comes inside, and that allows Gravenberch and McAllister to act as a double pivot. More support means less space to cover individually, and it means that Florian Wirtz can still play in those half spaces, allowing Liverpool to still be very potent going forward. Look, Liverpool's midfield is packed with energy, creativity and versatility. It's the least of my worries, but it's definitely still missing one thing, and that is bite in the midfield, defensive discipline, that edge you need in very tight games. And the right defensive midfielder in the system could genuinely transform Liverpool into the most balanced side in Europe. And finally, the biggest problem of them all. Winning the Premier League in your first season is incredible, but now comes Arne Slot's biggest challenge yet. Can he stay at the top? Last season, Liverpool were the underdogs at the time, a squad in transition because a new manager was coming into a new league. Nobody expected anything of them, but now they are the defending champions. The standard has been set. The pressure is real. Every team will want to beat them. This season, things will be different. More low blocks, more defensive resistance, more teams setting up just to frustrate Liverpool. And the expectations will be through the roof. Every lineup that Slot picks, every substitution he makes, every single thing that he does will be judged through the lens of a Premier League winning manager. And there's a trend here. Great managers do struggle to win back-to-back Premier League trophies because opposition teams have more data. They study the tactics, they learn the patterns. That new manager bounce is no longer there and everyone knows how you want to play. So how does Arne Slot keep Liverpool at the top? Well, first of all, you build a winning culture, and that starts from within. Having leaders like Salah and Virgil van Dijk help massively because they've won trophies at different parts of their career. But the message has to be clear. Every game matters. Every win counts. Complacency cannot be shown in... Complacency is the enemy of champions, and that's what made Sir Alex Ferguson so legendary at Manchester United. His teams never let up. The second thing they can do is evolve the tactics. You can't run the same tactic for 38 games in a season. Slot already showed signs of flexibility last season, but now he'll need to take it further. Variations in the build-up play, formation changes mid-game, tactical tweaks that keep opponents guessing. The goal, make Liverpool as unpredictable and unplayable as possible. Winning the league was just the beginning of the Arne Slot era, but the truly elite teams aren't judged by one great season, they are judged by how they respond after it. So now we ask the big question. Can Liverpool build while they're on top? Can they strengthen and add versatility through smart signings? And can they stay at the top come the end of the season? I hope you guys enjoyed this deep dive into what I believe is the 5 biggest problems that Arne Slot needs to fix before the new season kicks off, along with how they can be solved. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like it, comment down below your thoughts on what Arne Slot can fix throughout the season, subscribe for more tactical breakdowns and just more breakdowns, especially about Liverpool. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you know whenever I upload. Thanks for watching and peace.